What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name is Michael Roman, aka All Fires, and while I didn't suspect I'd be doing a second video today, we have a major report breaking that indeed Professor X will be in an upcoming Marvel film, and what's more than that, it's a returning version of the character from the now defunct Fox universe. We're going to break down where this story started actually a couple of days ago before today's exclusive, all of the industry insiders that are now weighing in to corroborate this leak. There are a ton, and the details included who he'll be fighting, why he's coming back, which film it is, and how this all ties to an original report last year that was eventually confirmed by Sir Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman about a meeting for this same film. We're breaking down everything Professor X in the MCU, but first, if you could grab the subscribe button, we do daily Marvel content here and cover it all. Everything from official interviews with directors to anonymous 4chan plot leaks and anything in between. So if you're into that kind of thing, maybe consider subscribing, and if you do, that'll happen to enter you to win all of the giveaways here at the channel, which there are many: multiple PlayStations, weekly subscriptions to Disney Plus, Shang-Chi tickets. You get the picture. So hit that subscribe button, then leave a comment down below, and if you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. So as I literally just mentioned in the prologue, we do this stuff daily, and so I keep up with all the breaking reports, news, and updates. A couple of days ago, trusted industry insider Daniel RPK, who already had a great track record but in the last 12 months has been absolutely killing it, sent out a cryptic tweet that said that Wanda would indeed be facing off against a returning Fox X-Men member in the upcoming Multiverse of Madness, but that he couldn't say who it was. Well, luckily for him, he didn't have to, because today we've actually got follow-up confirmation from two separate sources. The first of which, moviescoop.com, which I've never re-reported on before in the last 3 years, which makes me think they may be new to the scene. They confirmed in an exclusive from their own sources that it is indeed Professor X. That was followed up by viewer Anon, who is a much better known leaker source here in the Marvel industry, said that he can confirm that it is indeed Professor X as well. And this is what he had to say. Quote, "I've been hearing stuff about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and if it's true, it's just bonkers. But because it's out there from other people, Wanda is the villain of the movie, and she does have a confrontation with Xavier and Captain Carter, among others, so what if comes into play." He then goes on to say, "And since we're talking, last year I hinted that Logan might not be Hugh Jackman's last performance as Wolverine. And that's because they wanted him for Doctor Strange 2 to fight Wanda as well and get his ass decimated. Apparently, it didn't end up happening." Now, about that very last part, this is what I mentioned in the prologue, as confirmed from Hugh Jackman and Sir Patrick Stewart, that they met with Kevin Feige and Kevin Feige Marvel Studios' attempt to get them to come back and reprise their roles for Multiverse of Madness. The reason given by both actors was the same, that they had a very emotional and poignant send-off for both of those characters watching Logan when it finally came out together, and while they cried and said goodbye, neither of them would be coming back. Well, if Sir Patrick Stewart isn't coming back, that only leaves one other version of Professor X to show up in Multiverse of Madness, none other than James McAvoy from the most recent reboot of the franchise. Now, I know what you're thinking, and I've made this claim too, that all of these actors starting to deny these roles and involvement with Marvel Studios sort of feel like they're reading a script and they've all been saying the same thing. It's actually the hallmark that they're denying it. It's the exact same denial every time. But when you listen to Hugh Jackman and you listen to Sir Patrick Stewart talk about their emotional involvement with saying goodbye, what the role meant to them and each other, and the moment that they shared with the film, I just don't believe there's any way they're coming back for that. That's why I feel so confident that it's got to be James McAvoy's version of the character, and that would also make sense from a temporal standpoint. He's the most recent version of that character. Now, I don't suspect he's going to have a major role, but it is worth pointing out that the Movie Scope exclusive seemed to mention that he would have a small but significant role in the film. Now, I don't know how significant he could possibly be considering the ensemble of characters they already have going into that film and the new character introductions that are already confirmed, like America Chavez. But you have to understand, this is getting a little weird now. We're getting all of these old villains back from the Sonyverse, back now from the Fox universe. Okay, Professor X not a villain. Sorry, all these old characters. Let me correct myself. Before we get the new MCU versions of these characters. And that's why I think this is a little bit of dangerous ground. I heard a couple of you in the comments in my DMs mention that it's kind of sad to see Alfred Molina come back maybe Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, because you wanted MCU versions of those characters. And what my counter argument kind of was considering the split that they've got with Sony, there's probably a chance they didn't have plans for those MCU specific characters going forward. That's why having these other characters come back, the nostalgia playing into the live action Spider-Verse, it all just makes sense. But we are going to get a Professor X in the future of the MCU, our own MCU Professor X. You can rest assured of that. Now that Marvel finally has those rights back, they're eventually going to do the X-Men. And it's a little interesting to me, we would get introduced to an older version of the character before we get the new MCU version of the character. Now, obviously, Loki went a long way in explaining what variants are, and it's pretty clear now that Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, the entire team over there, plan on canonizing as much of the old, now defunct universes as possible, throw the Netflix universe in there as well, when we're finally introduced to Matt Murdock, played by Charlie Cox, in the upcoming Spider-Man No Way Home. And it's for that reason I am super happy to hear personally that they scrapped Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine, or Wolverine's involvement with this. I know there are a lot of you who will be very, very disappointed, but maybe only second or maybe slightly ahead of Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. This is one of the most iconic X-Men castings of all time, and whatever actor goes on to inherit the role, whatever situation Wolverine will be in when introduced into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I don't want him in any way overshadowed by Hugh Jackman. Let him grow and breathe without his shadow. It's like the MJ to Jordan comparison. They're completely different people. Yeah, it's the same character, so maybe that's not a great metaphor. In fact, that's really not a great comparison at all. I'll call myself out. Either way, I think you guys see what I'm saying. Hugh Jackman hasn't been Wolverine for quite a long time, and I'm happy to hear that they're leaving it that way, no matter how many years come between now and the introduction of that character in the MCU. It's over. Let it be. Same with Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr.'s non-return via AI. But I know you guys are going to argue about it in the comments anyway. So on that note, let me know what you think about this, both a Professor X or Fox X-Men character showing up, and if Professor X is coming back, if it's James McAvoy's character, are there any other characters aside from Wolverine that you would like to see show up in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness that think would have an awesome battle against Scarlet Witch? I am all ears for that. And quickly, let's get into that giveaway stuff again before I let you go. All right, we're still giving away 2 PlayStation 5s, the next of which is at 900,000 subscribers, or the conclusion of What If, whichever comes first, probably the end of the series. That's in just 6 weeks. So if you want to be entered to win, or for any of the future prizes like the weekly subscriptions to Disney Plus while the shows are live, or the Shang-Chi tickets, all the same rules always apply for the giveaways. All you have to do, hit that subscribe button, then leave a comment down below, and because it's truly random, more videos you comment on, better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced at the end of videos, same way we're doing here. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with notifications turned on, and as always, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button, really only if you liked the video, or you like this kind of content, or you're just feeling a little loose and want to hit it anyway. It means a lot to me. My name is Michael Roman. You can find me over on Twitter and Instagram at IamFires. You can also find me on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, wherever you listen to original music under the name All Fires, with the 2 background songs that you heard during this video and some others. I'd love it if you check that out. My name is Michael Roman. This is Everything Always. Thanks for checking it out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.